Hello, everybody. My name is Diana. I'm web accessibility expert and web developer. For more than 6 years, I work in France and I work on web development of the sites, of different digital content, of web applications, of 3D. And I get a lot of questions about how to make any digital content accessible and especially how to make it accessible in easy way because nobody want to read through all the standards, not understandable for most of the people who don't really understand web development, but they want to be accessible. They want to grow their audience and reach people with different from their needs. So in order to do this, I created this webinar where I will explain to you how to do it in easy way and efficiently, how to understand the most important web accessibility standards and apply it for your digital content. So I prepared for you several slides I will share right now, and I hope it will be seen. Okay, so in order to understand web accessibility, you need to understand not just for whom it is, which actually everybody, it's not just for people with disabilities, it's not just for all people, it's literally for all of us. And in order to bring bigger audience to your digital content, you need to be accessible. And right now, for example, in Europe, in several months, we have Accessibility Act, European Accessibility Act, that will start working for not just public companies, but private companies, for everybody in business who want to not to get fined. So you have to be accessible from end of June. And in order to do this, you have to follow accessibility standards. So, what is WCAG? It's Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. And there are many, many guidelines that are written for different parts of digital content. They're created for everybody, for public sectors, for individual, like actually for everybody who create digital content. And in modern world, everybody use internet, and we all need to have a digital presence of us in the internet. So we have different versions of the guidelines, and they're created by World Wide Web Consortium um, for in order to create accessible web content. And if you check, so I added the link here, like if you check a checklist of the things that you need to check on your site or on your social networks, on your mobile app, in order to stay accessible, there are really a lot of lines you need to follow, like you need to follow more than uh, 100 steps in this checklist in order to be accessible. Like if you have non-text content, what it should be, the form of the buttons, for example, accessible names. There are specific rules for the audio, video only content, the captions. So you can see that it's really, really long. And it also, like when you see double A, triple A, just A, it's the standard. So we have like from most simple version like A. Right now it's double A, the which is important to follow for everybody. From, as I remember, it was since autumn, but soon it will be triple A, like in several years. So the standards, they're just getting higher in order to be accessible for more people, because we need to think about people with different disabilities, or all people, or people in situational disability, or even for all of us. Like for example, I didn't know that it exists, but there are people who can see, right, but they don't understand the information by reading it, so they need to hear it. Only by hearing information they understand it. So you need to also think about people with such needs, for example. And yes, so we didn't even reach half of the list. You can see that there are a lot of information about, in order to what you need to do to stay accessible, what you need to check. Yes, but don't worry. So my webinar is specifically for those who don't want to go into such details, but they want to know what are the most important criteria that you need to follow in order to stay and to become accessible. And uh, for example, here, I provided a slide about visible and invisible implementations. And what it means, if you're a web developer, most of the things, especially if you're a backend developer, most of the implementations, they are not seen, like area landmarks, for example, or the focus management. These things, they are not seen, but there are several things that you can see visually on the site, so it's easier to explain why it's important. Like, for example, alternative text. This is the first thing here among visible implementations. Alternative text, that's what the images, sometimes the videos, like different elements they have uh, in order to explain what it is about for people who cannot see it. But even us, like for example, people who don't have any visual disabilities, if your internet, for example, is slow and the images, they're not downloaded on the site, so you will see this image, like of the broken image, the symbol of it, and it will be just this if there is no alternative text. But for the person who use the screen reader is the device that pronounce all the information from the site, so the people who cannot see it, they can hear it still. So for them, it's important to get the information, what this element represented, what was on this element. And this we can provide through alternative text. If you don't have alternative text, then half of your site can be missed, the information from your site, and maybe even the most important information. But there, it's also important to remember, for example, many people, they have such elements of design like arrows, which can be images, or some beautiful design element. These are things are not, this is just the content that doesn't have significant meaning. And for this, we don't need to have alternative text. It's only for images or the elements that have some important information, that if it goes away from the site, that it will affect the information and the meaning of the site. So alternative text, it's one of the important things. The keyboard navigation. What is keyboard navigation? You can just try and use the tab. So on your keyboard, there is the button tab. You can check in the internet where it is located according to your keyboard. So you can just try to go on your site and start clicking the tab, so that you can see if you can go from top to bottom, if you can go through the links, or maybe it doesn't go at all, because it's important. The keyboard navigation, that's what provide the map of your site for the screen readers, and not just for the screen readers, for all the people who use the keyboard in order to navigate your site. Because some people, they don't use the mouse, some people, they don't use the tactile option with the finger, that some of them, they cannot do it. And there are also a lot of people who just for whom it's easier to use the keyboard. So in order to navigate through site, your site should be accessible for the keyboard navigation. And you can check, and to see how it works, we will also use an example. We'll go on the site and see how it works, the keyboard navigation. Then there are captions, transcripts. So if you have any video or audio, like many people, they have video content on their website or on their social network, they need to have captions in order to people, like I can explain that, like I am the mother of three small children, and I cannot listen to video with the sound. I can only read like read the captions, so I see the information, but in order not to wake up children, I don't turn on the sound, so I always look at the videos without sound. And for me, it's important, but many people, they don't have it. So I cannot get information from these people, from their video, because if there is no information that I can read, then I don't understand what's going on the video. So I don't get it properly, and I cannot get information about their services or the product that they suggest. And so they lose customer. This is just an example. There is also important part, which is not here in the visible implementations, but the color contrast. This is very important. I will show you how it works, but for example, you know that if you choose red on the green color, it's very hard to read. And there are there is a color contrast that is the minimum that should be on the side at any moment, on any part of the site. So it's 4.5. We will check and we will see how it works practically. There is also high contrast for the text. This works so the color contrast should be for the parts like background and foreground of the text, or with some elements like buttons. Accessible forms. If you have contact form, it's important that it's accessible. I participated in many events about accessibility, and all the people, they say that your site can be 100% accessible. Your social network like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, everything, all the content might be accessible. But when you click on the link to pay or to get something, if on that, like that form, checkout is not accessible, then everything else, all the work that you did in order to be accessible, it will be in vain. Because the most important result for you, like the business is making money, so it's connected to people who spend money in order to get some service or the product from you. So if they cannot do it, then it's not important, everything that is done before, which of course is good, because no matter what, if your content is accessible, this is good for the world. This is good for all the people, because it will be easier and much better, even if people, they don't have disabilities. No, so it will affect readability. It will help with optimization. So you will get bigger audience, but if your checkout is not accessible, then you will lose a lot of clients at the last step of the way. So right now, I suggest that we go on the site, and I will show you how it works, and how with the most frequent mistakes, accessibility mistakes, we can handle them and to change them. So I will just go on the side of our project, Totilo. So here you can see that, like, for example, we can start with keyboard navigation. Um, I didn't check it for some time, so for me it will be also interesting. So here you can see keyboard navigation means that you see the focus where you're located using the tab. So I clicked and I'm here. I see that I'm at the logo. Then I move through all the elements. And here's the button. Then we go to this link. I should probably mention that the keyboard navigation with the tab, if we're using the tab, it goes through the all interactive elements. So it's links, the buttons, but we can also use arrows. And in this case, it will read everything. Right now, we'll just go through, because I want to show you what is important, how it works. So that's where we are right now. We are in the YouTube. Here I go through the elements. This is again YouTube. Here we are in the footer. Okay, and the accessibility statement and the map. And this is the end of the site. Okay, so that's how we can check keyboard navigation. But there are also interesting things, like, for example, the structure of the site, the headings. We can check it with different extensions. I use Accessibility Insights for web, but you can use any extension that you prefer. Like this is great because I can visually show you where the headings, what they are, in order, like, I can go just, you can always click the right button of the mouse and click inspect. But this is more for web developers, for people who are fine with using the code and understanding where the elements located and what it means. But I think here, accessibility insights for web, they really help us understand better. Oh, I'm sorry. I clicked and it disappeared. So here you can see the structure. So we have H1, H2, H3, the level. So it's important that it starts with H1, then we go down, and the structure is the same. Like we have H2 and H3 following each other. For smaller, so the bigger is, it's like in the book, actually, the title is the biggest, then we go further, we go to the each section, subsection, and so on. So here you can see how it moves. We have different levels of the heading. The color, so here we can check if we're accessible, so like for in black and white mode, and also there is some gray gradient. We can see if we can read everything, if everything is understandable on the side. For example, if you have bad color contrast, that's where you will see that it's not going to be seen that well. I also will check the landmarks, for example. This is what can help us to understand if there is this is the structure of the site, so we should have just one main part, and that's where it is. We have one footer, the banner, and the main part of the site. Okay, now I will show you with another extension how it looks, the alternative text, and you will also see a little bit in the way how screen reader see your site. So I will use wave evaluation tool, and I will show you. Yes, so like this, we can see that, for example, here, the green, you can read that like Arduino board with sensors. That's alternative text of this image. So we see what the user will see or hear if he uses the screen reader. And it's important to have it for important content, for the important messages. I mean, not the images that like arrows or some small elements. Actually, for those ones, it's better to leave alternative text empty. Then what do we have here? The color contrast. Yes, I wanted to show you the color contrast. And for this, I will close the extension wave. Like, for example, here I have on the side mostly white, black, gray colors, but there's also dark green. And right now we'll see, like, for example, here, let's take a look here, inspect it. And we will just take a look what happens if I change it to some other color. So there is a good thing. If you see, if you open Inspector, you don't need to go through the code. Don't be afraid about HTML and CSS. You can just click here on the arrow to make it blue. And this will allow you to take a look at the elements to get more information about it. So here, for example, you can see what is the background color, which is 163B B01. This is for dark green color that I have. And very important thing, you can get information about accessibility, whether your color contrast is good. In my case, I have 12.64, so this is a very good accessibility contrast. So I have white color of the foreground and dark green color for the background, and together they form a very good accessibility contrast, the color contrast for accessibility. And there's a link, it's working, keyboard focusable. You can see that everything is working fine, and you can get information about accessibility just without any extension, just being on your Google browser and clicking Inspect App. So here I wanted to show you as well what happens if, for example, we change this color. What it can be. Let's try like I don't know. For example, we can start with what I know. Like for example, if we have just black color, so that's how it will look. You can see that it changed, and accessibility, the contrast, color contrast for accessibility, it became 21. So this is the highest contrast that you can achieve, and this is good. So everything can be read. But here, for example, if we are trying like the more we are going to white, closer to light colors, the harder it will be to read. So for example, this is white text on white. You can see that right now accessibility has very low contrast. It's 1, and we cannot read text at all, which is logical, but I wanted you to get just to see how we can change and how you can play with it also, so that you see how it affects readability of your site. So you can choose any tool, like for example, I use color contrast this site, it's very good. Here you can see like um the accessibility, and to play with the colors and to choose the most accessible ones according to the colors that you have. Like here, for example, this is yellow, I see, and I can just check. I can take I can show you how it looks with yellow. Yeah, you see that there is a very low accessibility contrast, 1.25, and we cannot read the text. So it really affects, and it can be understandable for even for people without visual disability. So yes, and what is good here is that you can see for different accessibility standards, the level AA, AAA, for large text or normal text, whether it's failing or you actually doing a great job. And if you are changing here, so you can actually make it accessible by changing the colors. So you can see that like here, the minimum it's 4.5. So when we're moving like here, we are not accessible for AAA for normal text, but we're accessible for all others. And right now, the mandatory one is AA. So like if I put this color, it should be fine for my button background. So I will just add this, and you can see that we can read the text. You can see visually how it affects your site, and this is a very good tool in order to check your colors and what will be accessible for your site. Okay, so we can use this color contrast checker, the tool, or any other tool that has such function, in order to choose your colors in order to be accessible. We can check alternative text with Wave accessibility tool in order to see which images they have alternative text and which don't, where you need to add it for significant content. So what else do we have? The keyboard navigation you can check by yourself just by using the tab on your keyboard. What I was mentioning as well, the captions. Here it's also important that, for example, if you use YouTube, mostly it's automatically generated, but you can use the parameters, like there are different sites where you can create your own captions in order to be very precise with what users will see on your video. And it's always better to check and to provide extra information, and not to be able, like, for example, just to see the captions, but to be able to download the text so that it will contain all the information from the video, and the users, they can use the screen reader in order to access it easier, so that they just read the text, well, the screen reader read for them the text from your video. Um, what else is here? So yes, we check the structure. It's important, and the headings and the links. Yes, it's important to check that all your links, they work. Like, for example, if you have the button buy here, but at the end you don't actually have the link, like the following the direction when they click the button, and it goes somewhere else, or it doesn't work at all. This is a very big problem. It's the same like if your form is not accessible, the checkout form. So it's important to check your forms, to check your links, and this also can be done with the wave evaluation tool. Yes, so I think with just several tools, accessibility insights for web, um, wave evaluation tool, and color contrast checker. But the most importantly, just common sense. Take a look at your site. Do you understand everything? Or even you might, maybe you are lost somewhere. So these will follow most probably other users to be lost in your content. It's important to think about other people and to think about how understandable all the elements are on your site or on your social network. So I hope that I provide you a glimpse at web accessibility and how to fix the mistakes easily. And please let me know if you have tools that help you with your content creation or with your website. And I will be happy if you help your friends and colleagues become accessible and to stay accessible. I think it's very important, especially with the new European Accessibility Act that is coming this June. So let's stay together and work together on accessibility. Thank you for being here for my webinar. Thank you. Bye.